Hey everybody, it's Galmadex and welcome back to some more Magic Arena. Today we have another premiere draft of Strixhaven. Let's just jump back into this. We've got a pretty fun mythic rare here, Magma Opus. It is an 8 mana instant, so it is quite hard to cast. However, Prismari does have a lot of cards to enable casting this kind of thing. Prismari, of course, being the blue-red college in this set. For 8 mana, you're being able to deal 4 damage to whatever you want, divided how you choose, tap 2 permanents, create a 4/4, and draw 2 cards. So an absolutely massive effect for that mana cost. So if you do manage to get the enablers, this card can be incredibly good. We also have Rutha in Prismari, which is a little easier to cast and can do stuff that is comparably insane in the late game. If you manage to get up to like 10 mana, you could cast one of your big 8 mana Prismari spells and then copy it by returning her to your hand. She's also a 1/4 in the early game to block against the more aggressive decks, give you that time to get to your high mana cost cards. So I think Rutha's a fine pick there as well, but I'm just going to go with the mythic rare that I've never played before because it looks incredibly fun. And now let's see what we have. We have a closing statement for Silver Quill, a fantastic removal spell. If you cast this during your end step, it's only 3 mana to destroy a creature planeswalker you don't control and put a counter on one of your cards. So that's very good. That might be the best card in the pack. We have Inkling Summoning, one of the better lessons, because a 2/1 flyer is quite good. Being able to get over cluttered board states with an evasive creature is quite nice. Field Trip's a solid learn card. Pillar Drop Warden is solid in the Prismari decks. I guess this pick is kind of based on how married we are to the Magma Opus. If I'm 100% sure I want to play this and just hang on to it to dear life, I can take a Pillar Drop Warden and not be too unhappy here, because that is going to combo well in that sort of deck, being a good blocker and being able to bring back one of your big powerful instants and sorceries. However, it's generally not the greatest to get completely married to your first pick, so I could also just see taking like the powerful closing statement, being open to switching into Silver Quill there as another option. Now we have not much going on in Prismari here. We have, I guess, the Campus being one of the better cards, just good mana fixing. Ogier Battleseer is fine, a little bit high mana for what it does, and Thrill of Possibility also is fine. It's just card filtering, basically discarding 2 cards to draw 2 cards, because you discard Thrill and 1 other card for your hand, so it doesn't put you up a card or anything, so it's not really a card advantage. Also Vortex Runner, which is a solid early game creature, nothing super exciting though. It's a 2/3 in the early game to get out there, maybe trade off with something, and in your Prismari decks you are trying to hit the late game, you're trying to get to that point where you're going to have 8 or more lands. A little better in Quandrix, because Quandrix does have the ways to ramp out those lands quickly. There's also Fractal Summoning for a lesson, and Eureka Moment, probably one of the better cards, just a good draw spell here. I'm just going to take the Prismari Campus, I think. I am really wanting to play this Magma Opus, so as long as there's like a decent pick in Prismari, I think I'm going to try to hang on to it. But if we get completely cut out of it here within the next couple picks, I could see trying to switch. And here we've got a pretty solid choice. Kelpie Guide good in either of the rampy blue colleges, Quandrix in blue-green or Prismari in blue-red, because both of those colleges are trying to hit some pretty expensive stuff, and this can let you untap one of your lands every turn, which definitely gives you an extra mana, which is quite nice. And if you make it to the late game, this card is pretty absurd, because then not only does it still untap things, so if you want to give one of your creatures vigilance or something like that, you can do that, but it also taps your opponent's threats, so if they have a big old creature that you can't block well, you can just start tapping that every turn. So Kelpie Guide's quite a strong card. There's also Elemental Masterpiece and Stormkiln Artist. Both of those are fun, but I think that Kelpie Guide is going to be just the best enabler out of that pack for what we're trying to do. When we already have one really powerful 8 mana instant here, don't really need to take cards like the Elemental Masterpiece super highly. We can just get them later. I am much more looking for the cards to enable these sort of things before I take more of them. So again, here I'm going to take a Spectacle Mage because it helps enable my cards like Magma Opus and Elemental Masterpieces that we'll be trying to pick up later. So I'm pretty happy with that pick. There's also maybe a Quandrix campus if we try to splash in a little bit of green. We are seeing some decent Quandrix stuff pretty late here. I mean, it's pick 5, but that is a little late for Emergent Sequence because this is a great little ramp effect here. Get a land out of your deck and you turn it into a creature, so it mana fixes you and gives you a creature. So Quandrix definitely looking a little open here. So campus or sequence is a choice there. But I'm just going to stick to what we're doing. With a Spectacle Mage here. Wow, and I'm very happy I did, because this is by far the best pack that we've seen so far in our colors. There are several incredible choices to get pick 6 here, the best of which being Igneous Inspiration. This card is bonkers. 3 mana to do 3 damage to any target is just a fine, efficient removal spell, but this also learns, so you're drawing a lesson card off of this, making this just cream of the crop removal in this format. A very, very good card. We also have Elemental Summoning, one of the better lessons. 5 mana for a 4/4 is pretty decent, and throwing that on a lesson is great. There's another Spectacle Mage for that enabling. There's another great removal spell, the Pigment Storm. A little slow, but Prismari can go with those slow removal spells. And there's also Academic Dispute, which is a fine way to learn in the early game because it is so cheap. Ooh, and a Quandrix Pledge Mage. Pick 7 here. This is quite good with learn and lesson cards because every time you cast a learn card, you're casting a sorcery that grabs you another instant or sorcery from your sideboard. So you're getting 2 Magecraft triggers off of those kind of things. If we get anything that copies itself, that's going to be great. Yeah, I think Quandrix Pledge Mage is just very good in any heavy instant sorcery-based decks. Even if we're not in Quandrix with that hybrid mana cost, we can cast it off of just double blue. Pretty happy to see that here, although Prismari Pledge Mage and Pigment Storm are both great here as well. Pledge Mage just being a great blocker for a cheap mana cost, and Pigment Storm, again, being that solid later removal spell. Do like Tome Shredder in the instant sorcery heavy decks as well, although it is a little awkward with Pillar Drop Warden because Pillar Drop Warden can bring back our instants and sorceries. Tome Shredder will just eat them up and remove them from the game entirely. We do already have a Spectacle Mage and a Pledge Mage at 3 mana, so we already have, actually Kelpie God as well, we already have 3 mana creatures. Maybe we grab a Spirit Summoning just so we have some lessons, but this is one of the weakest ones. Definitely like Elemental Summoning a lot better. Yeah, I'll just go with the Tome Shredder. It's a little awkward with what we've got, but could be solid. And it is really nice getting that pick 9 Rutha if we have the dream draw in some game. If we have 10 mana available, we can Magma Opus and copy it by returning Rutha to our hands. Rutha is easily the pick here. And I'm just going to slam that. So that is a great, great sign for us, and now we'll take the only card I'm likely to play, and I'm still not super likely to play, just the 3 mana 2/2 First Strike in this sort of deck. But Resculpt is definitely not a card I'm very excited to buy. Well, we see multiple options here. We have the Battleseer, the Vortex Runner, and the Thrill of Possibility. So I'm very happy with the college that I'm in right now. Very glad that I stuck to Prismari. It looks like the pack distribution was just a little bit weird. There just weren't very many Prismari cards in these packs because every single Prismari card out of this pack did come back to us. Yeah, I guess I'll just take the Battleseer there. And now Elemental Masterpiece or Stormkiln Artist here. I've played the Stormkiln Artist before and it didn't do much for me, although it is really fun if you can get like storm cards to go with it and all of that. Yeah, Masterpieces are the kind of cards that'll be easier to get later because the only decks that'll possibly want this card are going to be the big late game Prismari decks, as you can see by getting another Elemental Masterpiece here. So I am going to take the Stormkiln Artist just because we're much less likely to get those later. Oh my god, 2 cards left in the pack, and we do scoop up another Spectacle Mage. This is kind of the dream draft here. Even the last pick is very playable, a 2 mana 2/2. Better in Lorehold because they do have a lot of spirit creatures. For us, it's just the 2 mana 2/2, but even that is fine. Now what do we have? We have a very off-color rare, the Demogoth Titan. Definitely not going to be taking that here. We have another Spectacle Mage, an Academic Dispute for a cheap learn card. Not much else. Twin Scroll Shaman, which is solid with ways to buff it, and Fuming Effigy, which is solid with a lot of graveyard synergies and effects. I think I want to just slam down another Spectacle Mage, but we just got a Spectacle Mage with 2 cards left in the pack, so this is just 100% going to wheel. So maybe we just take a Spirit Summoning, because we don't have any lessons yet. We definitely want to have a few. If Spirit Summoning's our only lesson, that won't be ideal, but at least we have a backup plan if we don't get any better ones. Now we have a Pillar Drop Warden, another Elemental Masterpiece. Elemental Masterpiece much more likely to wheel, being in 2 colors and 7 mana, so I'll just go with the Pillar Drop Warden here, I think. Excavated Wall is not a card you usually want to play, but if we do become just a really defensive, really late game Prismari deck, it's possible. That should almost definitely wheel as well, though. I guess Decisive Denial would be a decent splash if we pick up some of those Quandrix campuses, those blue-green dual lands. So that would be an option as well. Same with Eureka Moment. I think I'm just going to stick to my college here, get a Pillar Drop Warden in. We have some great draw spells now. We have Practical Research, a 5 mana instant to draw 4 cards, then discard 2. Unless we discard an instant or sorcery, then we only discard 1 card. Or a Pop Quiz, 3 mana to draw a card and learn. Right now, the quality of our lessons is pretty low. We just have a Spirit Summoning, and Illuminate History is not that much better than a Spirit Summoning, to be honest. I haven't often been able to draw this at a good time to get a lot of card draw out of it. And sometimes it doesn't even make the 3/2, so this is a pretty awkward one. So yeah, I'm less excited about the Pop Quiz just because we just don't have the quality lessons right now. So I'm just going to take a Practical Research, I think, just for a great draw spell to draw what's in our deck rather than our sideboard or lesson board, so to speak. We have 12 creatures already. We're doing pretty good on that front. A lot at 3 mana. Oh yeah, a lot of 3 mana creatures, so I'm less excited about Vortex Runner than I would be normally. Because of that, I think I'm cool to just take a Quandrix Campus here, just in case we do end up seeing great Quandrix cards late. There is a start from scratch here, but again, very low quality lesson here. 1 damage to a target or destroy an artifact. It is kind of nice to have, just in case your opponent has some sort of crazy artifact, like a Bloodletter Quill or something, but the 1 damage part definitely very rarely comes into play. Yeah, we've got like more than enough just 3-drop creatures here, so I'm just going to take the green mana fixing just in case. Alright, so we only have like 4 spells in this deck right now, actually, to go with the Pledge Mages and stuff. We definitely want to pick up more spells over creatures if we can. We have another Pillar Drop Warden here. We have a Spirit Summoning. We've got Waterfall Aerialist. Again, not really pumped about the whole creatures aspect here. So maybe Spirit Summoning, maybe Pillar Drop Warden. I mean, Pillar Drop Warden is a creature, but it brings back a spell at least. Definitely not taking a square up. This is just a very mediocre pump spell. I'll just take another Spirit Summoning, I think. Another Practical Research. I think I'm cool with that, but wow, the creatures in this pack are so good. We have a Frost Trickster and we have a Spectacle Mage. Spectacle Mage to ramp those things out early. Frost Trickster to slow our opponent's creatures down. Give us some more time to draw into our late game stuff. This is a pretty hard choice. I mean, we do have a ton of creatures. We have a ton of 3 mana creatures, so we have redundancy there, to where no matter what, we could just like run all these. If we take one of these, we're probably cutting another 3 mana card for it or something, but Practical Research, we just don't have a lot of instant sorceries here, not a lot of draw power. I'm just going to take another Practical Research over those cards, which feels bad because those are some great cards, the Spectacle Mages and the Frost Trickster there. Letter of Acceptance, maybe? Definitely not very excited about a Vortex Runner here or a Lorehold Pledge Mage. Not really excited about the Letter of Acceptance either, but with a bunch of 7-8 mana cards, could be okay. And if we do end up doing like a little Quandrix splash or something, then it's there for that. Pop quiz here. Grab another non-creature. I guess we don't have a lot in terms of 2 mana creatures, just a stack at 3, so we could take a Befuddler to slow our opponents down. Stops a little bit of damage, trades off with a 2 toughness or less creature. We also have Curates, but now we do have 2 Spirit Summonings for the Pop quiz. Yeah, I'll just take a Pop quiz and definitely have my eye out on good lessons at this point. Happy to take a Spectacle Mage here over the Academic Dispute. Again, because now I have like Igneous Inspiration and Pop Quiz to learn with, and still not great lessons. So I'm not so looking for learn cards that I'm looking for the Academic Disputes here. Definite Elemental Masterpiece out here. We've got the triple Spectacle Mage. We've got the big spells, Elemental Masterpiece, Magma Opus. It even makes our practical researches cheaper, so that can be fun. Now we can take the start from scratch just to have more options in the sideboard in terms of what our lessons could do. Cogwork Archivist is not actually as bad as it looks. It looks like really, really slow, but a 4/5 is pretty big in this format. There's a lot of like 4/4s and stuff. And it has reach, so it can block flyers as well. So I mean, sometimes it's solid. Definitely not playing a hall monitor in this deck, though. We are not that slow. So let's see what we've got here. We have a Rutha, but a lot of the Prismari cards have been wheeling. So if there's anything else that's pretty great, we should probably take that first. I guess we have Introduction to Annihilation just to get more kinds of lessons in the sideboard. But I'm not an insane fan of the Introduction to Annihilation. I have gotten blown out many times before from just giving my opponent a card draw. We've got the Prismari Pledge Mage. We don't have a lot of 2 mana creatures. Like, while we do have a good amount of creatures, yeah, we have 16 creatures for this deck, which is more than enough for what we're doing, but we just don't have 2 mana creatures, and a 2 mana 3/3 is like a really good blocker. I'll take the 2 mana 3/3 here, hope to wheel the Rutha. I'm not actually that excited about that 5 mana lesson there. Well, this is going to be a hard pick. We have Heated Debate, which is a great removal spell. We'll probably just have to take that here. I don't think that we have a ton of great removal. We have Igneous Inspiration, which is a great removal spell, but that's it. The next removal spell that we have is Magma Opus at 8 mana, so we can't really count that. Yeah, I think we pretty much have to take the Heated Debate here. Kelpie Guide would be fun. It gives us more ramp into our stuff, but we've got a good amount of ramp in terms of casting 5 mana and up spells. We have 3 Spectacle Mage, 1 Kelpie Guide. That's like 4 different ramp cards for that, so that's pretty fun. Yeah, I'll just take the Heated Debate here. Seems like what we gotta do, get that cheap removal. Mentor's Guidance is pretty great with Magecraft cards like Quandrix Pledge Mage. It's a great draw spell there. What's the lesson here? Turn something into a 1/1 or a 4/4 till end of turn, but it's sorcery speed. Yeah, it seems not fantastic. And Enthusiastic Study to learn, but again, our lessons kind of suck. We could take Introduction to Prophecy here to make sure we have more lessons, but I think Mentor's Guidance is just potentially so good with like Quandrix Pledge Mage. Quandrix Pledge Mage next turn, Mentor's Guidance turns it into a 4/4, and we get to scry 2, draw 2. We need Clerics, Druids, Shamans, Warlocks, and Wizards. We have 1 Druid, 1 Wizard, 8 Shamans. Yeah, we're good. We have 10 cards that trigger that. All right. This is not a particularly hard choice out of this pack. Because we're only in 2 colors here, we don't need an immense amount of mana fixing, so we don't have to take this Prismari Campus insanely highly, although the Scry does help a lot in the late game as well. What we're really missing in this deck are powerful lessons. Instead of just like a 3 mana 3/2, a 5 mana 4/4 is much bigger, and I'm very happy to take the Elemental Summoning out of this pack. We're not missing out on a lot. We're missing out on Prismari Campus, maybe a Pillar Drop Warden, but we already have 2 of those. Yeah, we're super happy to take Elemental Summoning out of this pack. Ooh, another 2 mana creature here, Prismari Apprentice. Yeah, it's like a fine tempo card. I guess it's better like the more aggressive you are. We're not really aggressive here, although we do have a lot of creatures, so we could start turning these sideways if we really want to. Got that Frost Trickster as well, though, which is great aggressively or defensively, although it is another 3-mana creature, and I do have a million of those. Yeah, I think these are both really solid. Fractal Summoning as well for another option in the lesson board. Just going to take the Prismari Apprentice there. Another Rutha. We could end up with like 3 Ruthas in this deck. Environmental Sciences for a great lesson. Burying Books as a great temporary removal spell. Another Practical Research. When your college is very open, you get some very hard choices like this. We have the great early game blocker of the Pledge Mage. We have the Rutha to copy things late game. Practical Research for another draw spell. Burying Books for another removal. Environmental Sciences for another great lesson. I think I'm just going to start scooping up Ruthas here and see if we can end up in the triple Rutha deck and just start copying everything we cast. That just sounds like the funnest thing to do. I'd like to try that out here. I guess we have a Campus Guide for another 2-mana creature if we really want it. If we get enough of these just random 2-mana creatures at this point, if we have like 5 2-mana creatures, we could just pivot this deck into a pretty aggressive one. But I don't really want to do that, but I guess we could. Eureka Moment, I guess we do have the Quandrix Campus. We could splash in a little draw spell, but don't really want to splash in something if it's just a draw spell. Happy to take a Prismari Pledge Mage here for just solid power toughness for the cost, if you're just trying to block with it. There's Rutha number 3, let's go. Or Introduction to Annihilation? Nah, Rutha number 3. Let's just cast a Rutha every single game. I definitely don't want like a 4th one because she is legendary, so it is awkward when you draw the 2nd copy, but the redundancy is pretty solid. We already have a start from scratch, so we already have like 1 artifact destroying lesson. We'll just grab a Befuddler here, but not sure how likely we are to play that. And I don't really like any of these. These are all pretty filler. I guess I'll take another option in terms of lessons. Ooh, happy to have another Prismari Campus here. Scoop that up. I don't think I'm going to end up playing any of these cards. I guess Historian is a little more likely than the other two, because it's a little better than Blood Age for this deck, because then we are trying to get to the late game, and when we do, we get another blocker out of it. But I'm pretty sure we're just running Pledge Mages as our 2-mana creatures in this deck. Alright, wow. So Prismari was open. That is for sure. We have a decent amount of lessons now. We have... they're pretty mediocre, but they help all of our learn cards just be a little bit better. Yep, 5 different lessons. It's pretty nice. So 12 cards to cut out of here. We are definitely in the open college in this draft. So I'm thinking we're definitely cutting a lot of creatures. I do really want to lean into the power of these late game spells. The Practical Researchers has those big draw spells. Elemental Masterpieces for 2 4/4s off of 1 card. And Magma Opus as the big removal spell. Tap down some things, draw some cards, and get a 4/4. And that's at instant speed, so that is just really solid. So let's see what we want to do here. I think I'm definitely cutting out the Pledge Mages. Definitely cutting a lot of these 2-mana cards. Again, because of how open our college was, we can really build our deck however we want. We could go really aggressive with it, with the amount of 2-3 mana creatures we ended up with, and then just run all these cheap spells, cut down on the high cost stuff. But that pick 1, pack 1 Magma Opus, all of the cost reductions, the Spectacle Mages, the big copy effects of the Ruthas, we have some big combos if we get to those large cards. Even the Pillar Drop Wardens to just cast them again in the very late game are all pretty insane. So I think I am just going to cut a lot of the creatures, especially the cheap ones, so like Campus Guide here, Historian, Blood Age General, Befuddler, maybe Prismari Apprentice, but I think I'm leaving all the Pledge Mages in, because even when they're not triggering, they block well. When Prismari Apprentice isn't triggering, it's just a 2/2. Maybe the Tome Shredders, because we have the Pillar Drop Wardens. But I think they're still solid. We could cut a Rutha, go down to 2 of her. I definitely still want 3 Spectacle Mages and a Kelpie Guide. Definitely still want the Pledge Mage. Stormkiln Artist hasn't worked particularly well for me in the past, and we didn't end up with anything that combos incredibly well with it. We have the one Mentor's Guidance that's pretty good. I guess like Pop Quiz is solid with it. Learning and grabbing another card. Same with Igneous Inspiration. Just cheap cards that learn, so we know that we're casting two instants or sorceries 2 turns in a row there. Archivist is kind of a lot of mana, and once we get to that kind of mana cost, we can just cast Masterpieces and Opuses. So we'll cut that. Battleseer as well. Like, once we hit 5 mana, we just want to play these big spells, I think. We do have 3 Spectacle Mage, a Kelpie Guide. Our 3 drops are pretty cluttered, so I don't know how often we'll want to take the time off on turn 3 to play a artifact that ramps us up when we could just play a creature that ramps us up, like Spectacle Mage or Kelpie Guide, or we could just play like a big old 1/4, or we could play Pledge Mage. Yeah, we have so many things going on at 3 mana that I think that Letter of Acceptance kind of clutters up that cost quite a bit, even though it would be solid here just to have like a 5th rampy sort of spell. I think I'm still going to cut it because it's a ramp spell that doesn't put anything on the board, whereas all of our other ones do. We get a 2/2 flyer and ramp up a bit, or we get a 2/2 on the ground and ramp up a bit. So I think most of the time we're not going to want to take turn 3 off to cast that instead of something else. 4 more cuts. I mean, we could just cut all these and then bam, we have a deck, but I'm still thinking about Tome Shredder here. I just really don't like the fact that we've got the double Pillar Drop Warden with those Tome Shredders in here. Yeah, and our instants and sorceries in general, like, we don't have a ton of them, but the ones that we have are all, like, quality instants and sorceries. So, like, returning anything off of Pillar Drop Warden is going to be great. Igneous Inspiration, Heated Debate will be fantastic. Mentor's Guidance and Pop Quiz, both powerful draw spells. Practical Research and the 7 and 8 drops are obviously living the dream, insane things to return with Pillar Drop Warden. So yeah, I actually see cutting the Tome Shredders here because every single instant or sorcery is something that is perfectly solid to pick up from a Spiller Drop Warden. Sure, we'll say it's a Spiller Drop Warden today, so I'm going to cut those Tome Shredders here. Now we need to cut 2 more cards. If we want this to be a 17 land deck, I could even see this being an 18. We are trying to hit those really big cards, and we have 2 campuses to scry us out of Mana Flood. So I think 18 lands is solid here. We also have a couple Learn spells, which Learn spells kind of up the non-land count in your deck, because now it's kind of like anytime we draw one of these Learn spells, we're also drawing another non-land spell. Yeah, I could actually see cutting 3 cards here and running an 18-lander for sure. So what do we cut now? Rutha, Battleseer, Apprentice? Maybe? Do like that here. Throw in another land. Yeah, that seems solid to me. We'll try that out. We definitely ended up in a college that was so open that we have plenty of options in between rounds of seeing what worked well, what didn't work well, and reassessing our deck and changing things around as things go. But I kind of like this as the starting build here, going with the 18-lander. So let's see our color distribution in our spells to see what lands we should have here. Looks like 18 red spells, 17 blue spells. Does look pretty even at first glance. We have 1 card that needs 2 blue mana, the Quandrix Pledge Mage. Everything else is not particularly color restrictive. Everything else just needs 1 pip of its color. 1 blue symbol, 1 red symbol. Got that 1 double blue card. Yeah, I'll just throw another island in here, then we have an even split. Yeah, we have 1 more red cards than blue cards, but we have 1 blue card that costs double blue, so we have basically just exactly even. Let's get another island in here. And now, let's get those Prismari sleeves going. All right, so here's the deck for everybody interested, and we'll go ahead and hop in to game 1. Very excited to run this deck. The pick 1, pack 1 Magma Opus and hold on for dear life definitely worked out well, but it was a little scary, a little sketchy at first. We weren't seeing great Prismari in those first few picks. Alright, we're on the play here. We have Kelpie Guide and Spectacle Mage ramping us up. We have Practical Research to draw us into those late game plays. Seems like a very solid keep. We also have both colors here. Very low risk hand. And we have drawn our first big late game card, the Elemental Masterpiece. I'm feeling very good about the prospects of this hand. We are against a Silver Quill deck. They're starting off with a Stonerise Spirit, 1/2 flyer. For 4 mana, they can exile a card from their grave to give another creature flying until end of turn. So that can be scary. I'll go ahead and cast our Spectacle Mage here instead of our Kelpie Guide, I think. Kelpie Guide is going to be better later when we have 8 lands out. We have no other lands in hand, and everything that we have that costs more than 3 mana right now is an instant or sorcery, so this will ramp us up just as well as Kelpie Guide while being able to block Stonerise Spirit. Well, definitely can't block it if they throw an Essence Infusion on it, making it a 3/4 with lifelink until end of turn. That puts them up to 23 here, and is pretty scary. I do have the Heated Debate to just blow that up, and I might want to do that here. If I cast a Spectacle Mage or a Kelpie Guide, then I know that I can cast an Elemental Masterpiece next turn, right? No, I don't know that for sure. That would make Masterpiece cost 5, or it would make it cost 6, and I can untap a land and have 5 mana total. So if I play Spectacle Mage or Kelpie Guide, I'm banking on drawing a land, and then I can cast Masterpiece next turn. And even if I cast Masterpiece next turn, that's nothing to block Stonerise Spirit. I think we play it defensively. Just hit this Stonerise Spirit with a Heated Debate here. Probably while they're tapped out. We've already seen one sort of pumpy effect from them. I wouldn't be surprised to see an instant pump spell to save that. And if we kill that, we're just taking 1 damage on board here from a Star Pupil. We're at 17 life, so this should be a slow beating unless they have another Essence Infusion. That would be a pretty good combo with the Star Pupil's ability to move its counters around when it dies. Alright, looks like they'll just follow it up with a Spectre of the Fens. Just a 2/3 flyer here. If we cast a Spectacle Mage now, then we know we can cast Elemental Masterpiece next turn. We also have 4 power and toughness to block in the sky, so if they attack in with Spectre of the Fens, we could double block. That's not something I'm going to do because we will be blown out by a combat trick if we make that block, and I really need these Spectacle Mages to be able to for sure cast Elemental Masterpiece next turn. But just having 2 Spectacle Mages out could potentially hold them off from attacking with the Spectre. Of course, it did not here, unfortunately, and now an Island Shield Mage as well. A lot of great flyers coming out from our opponent. So now, I mean, if we play Elemental Masterpiece here, then we are putting out potentially some pretty good attackers. But I'm really worried about the defensive here. We're down to 14 now, facing against some pretty good flyers. I think that we actually play a Kelpie Guide and Practical Research here, because now we probably double block the Owl and Shield Mage, take 2, cast a Practical Research to draw into our next plays, and definitely hope for the best from those, because Elemental Masterpiece doesn't actually help us block those flying things, and we have 6 lands out plus a Kelpie Guide, so even if the Spectacle Mages die, we have the mana that we need to cast our large spells. Sparring Regiment is an absolute beating. This card is pretty terrifying now. One of their creatures each turn gets to attack with Vigilance and gets a +1/+1 counter on it. This is really bad for us. Interesting. So they put the counter on Star Pupil. I guess now if I trade with the Star Pupil, they put more counters on something else. Pretty happy with that counter placement for us, though, because I do just want to kill the Shield Mage here. Of course, if they have combat trick here, we're going to get super blown out. We got to make sure to cast Practical Research before combat damage here, or we won't have the mana to do it. So let's go ahead and cast that now. Because if they kill one of the Spectacle Mages, this will cost 4 mana. So I could discard Elemental Masterpiece, or I could discard one of these creatures in a land. Star People's a 2/2 right now. I don't think Pledge Mage is going to help a ton here. So I kind of like Island Pledge Mage. Because if I play Pledge Mage as a 3/3, they can just attack with Star People, turn it into a 3/3 on Sparring Regimen. And then it's a 3/3 and it moves its counters elsewhere. Yeah, I think Pledge Mage Island is the way to go here. Although if we keep Pledge Mage, we could cast 2 spells next turn, Pillar Drop Warden and Pledge Mage, or Stormkiller Artist and Pledge Mage, but I'm pretty sure we're just casting Elemental Masterpiece next turn. Actually, maybe keeping this land for the Kelpie Guide is good. Yeah, I'm actually going to go Pledge Mage Stormkiller Artist here. Those are both kind of awkward at this point in the game. But Pillar Drop Warden is potentially a lot better. Alright, they just have the Baleful Mastery to blow me out there. Kill both their flyers off that attack. Definitely not good. Now we really need that flying defense that we just don't have here. If I play a Prismari Campus, then I have to tap Kelpie Guide to cast Elemental Masterpiece. Although Kelpie Guide isn't likely to be blocking here anyway, so that seems fine. Yeah, we just make a couple 4/4s. We take 6 in the sky because they attack with both of these, put a +1/+1 counter on one of them with Regimen. It's really painful. We could just cast Pillar Drop Warden so we have a creature with reach, but it doesn't seem great to me either because we're just blocking a Shield Mage. Take 3 from Spectre of the Fens because they can attack with both. Put the counter onto the smaller one to chip in for as much damage as possible there. Like we play Pillar Drop Warden. They could even put a counter on Pupil, and then I could just block there, take 5. Yeah, this seems not great all around. I think we're just gonna get crushed by these flyers. The Sparring Regimen as well. Just making it a little faster. Also, the Sparring Regimen did draw them a 3rd flyer, which is brutal. Spiteful Squad. Now we have just a Pillar Drop Warden here. We play Pillar Drop Warden, block Owl and Shield Mage, take 2 or 3. I mean, we survive a turn. Like, because of the ward ability on this, where we have to pay life to target it, we can't tap that down with Kelpie Guide and hope to survive. Like, that just won't happen. Maybe should have scryed in my upkeep, but I don't have anything that would cost... Let's see, I'd have to spend 4 to scry. I don't have anything that costs 3 that would save us here, although an Igneous Inspiration would have been good. Yeah, might have been worth a scry in the upkeep, but then we couldn't cast Pillar Drop Warden. But now it's definitely worth a scry in the upkeep because we've got more lands in hand, so next turn we'll have 4 mana up after we scry, which is enough to cast more stuff. Maybe it's not. Maybe we're just hoping to draw Magma Opus at this point. I don't even think attacking with the elementals is good here, because then the ground creatures get to get in. I attack with an elemental and Spiteful Squad just dies and throws its counters onto a flyer. So not only do they kill the 4/4 anyway, but they make the flyer big enough to just kill me. That seems like something I really just can't do. We do have 8 lands now, so we can tap things down. So we get to tap the Spectre of the Fens at least, but actually just with its ability, we die to just the ability on board here. Well, I guess we do have 4 blockers, so not quite. They just use it right now, then use it in their upkeep. They don't even have to attack here. We have to tap Spectre down. If we tap down the Shield Mage, we take 3 damage from its ward ability. And go to 1, and then immediately die to the Spectre's effect. That's very surprising to me. That was already going to trade with the 4/4, so I'm happy with that. Now my Pillar Drop Warden gets to survive through a block, at least. Right, the oops from our opponent. So they did not realize the Pillar Drop Warden has reach. Reach is one of the easier effects to miss. Definitely has happened to me a lot before. So what happens if we draw like Magma Opus here? If we draw Magma Opus, we can get out of this. Is there anything that we could draw that would cost... Let's see, I'd spend 4 in Scry, so I have to tap 5 of my lands. I'd have 3 mana up, I play a 4th land. Do I have anything in my deck for 4 mana or less that can save me here? If I do, it's probably worth the Scry. I really don't. I have another Pillar Drop Warden, Pledge Mage. Yeah, nothing that's going to like really get us out of this except our big cards. Let's just draw here. And it's just a land, so that is going to close this one out. Spectre the Fens hitting us with its ability twice here will end this game. We can pick up an Elemental Masterpiece and recast it, or a Heated Debate and recast it, but in order to do that, we have to sacrifice our only thing that can block flyers. Yeah, so we just die. Like, the coolest thing we can do with that is pick up a Heated Debate and kill Owl and Shield Mage, because they can't counter it with the ward effect, but then Spectre just kills us. If we pick up Heated Debate and kill the Spectre, then Owl and Shield Mage just kills us because we don't have flying blockers. And they use Spectre's ability once here. Yeah, they just use Spectre's ability here when I Heated Debate it, and then we die to the ward effect. I'm going to decline to pay. I'll just choose to die to the Spectre instead of the Shield Mage, because it's cooler to be able to kill that without paying its ward cost than it is to kill the Spectre and then die to the ward ability. So again, the other way around there would have been to shoot the Spectre, but then the Owl and Shield Mage. When we try to tap that down with Kelpie Guide's ability, it makes us pay 3 life, so we just die immediately, because they would respond when we try to kill the Spectre by doing 2 to us. We'd be at 2 life, we pay 3 life and go to -1. Actually, we can't even attempt to pay 3 life if we don't have 3 life. And we couldn't do anything cheeky with our Kelpie Guide. We couldn't like try to tap down one of their lands because the effect on that flyer is an instant speed activated ability, so we would just target a land to try to tap the land and then they would just use it immediately. Plus, if we did that, we couldn't tap down the flyer as an attacker anyway. Alright. So heading into the next round here, we do have Prismari Pledge Mage on turn 2. So we have a solid early game blocker. Do really need to draw into an island for this hand to pan out. But if we do, this hand is really great. Our opponent's on the play. Gotta keep it because our opponent's on the play, so we're on the draw here. We get an extra draw step. We have 3 turns to draw the island, and still draw it on curve. And with a 3/3 out blocking things, we probably have some more time to draw into it. Now we even have the Elemental Masterpiece to discard to get a treasure token, so we can at least cast Pop Quiz here. Use Pop Quiz to draw into the land. So if I cast Pledge Mage, I do get to block one of these things. I still take 1 a turn. If I don't cast Pledge Mage, I take 2 here, but then I get to get a treasure token and cast a Pop Quiz next turn, which should get us the mana that we need, because we get to draw a card and then discard a card, draw another card. Yeah, I'll just take the 2 here, discard a Masterpiece, and make sure that we hit our lands next turn. Make the least greedy play here. We did just draw the land, so that pans out a little awkwardly for us. Now we're down an Elemental Masterpiece. But without the knowledge of what we have on top, I do want to just be certain that we can cast our late game stuff. I want to cast Rutha here. We could potentially double Pop Quiz in a bit, which is cool. I can only cast 1 card here. I guess we could play Pledge Mage, but I'd have to sacrifice the treasure to do that, so I don't really want to do that, I think. Yeah, a 1/4 blocker is like pretty big here too against these 1-power creatures. If they want to use a combat trick to kill Rutha, that's cool. Alright, they do not. Well, we're going to be playing a little slow here, but our opponent is as well. They just have a couple 1-power creatures out, so we're not under much pressure. I think we're cool to just drop Spectacle Mage. You know, because we're under no pressure here, I could also just cast Pop Quiz without copying it and try to draw into the mana we get, or the mana we need to get to these late game cards. But I also want to hold on to Pop Quiz for Pledge Mage to be even bigger. I'll just drop a Spectacle Mage here. I can start hitting them for 2 in the sky. Get a little pressure on them that way. There's our second blue for the Pledge Mage. Just start slapping them with a Spectacle Mage. Play another one here. Now, Elemental Masterpiece only costs 5 mana, so we could cast it next turn, get a couple 4/4s, which is massive. But we can also wait and potentially double cast it with Rutha, which would be really cool. They do have the Rise of Exodus to just kill Rutha here, so I think I'm just going to Masterpiece next turn. Probably better than Pledge Mage. Yeah, because next turn we have 5 mana. If we draw land, we'll have 6, so we could like Pledge Mage into Pop Quiz. But if we don't draw land, we just have 5. We could Elemental Masterpiece, or we could just cast like Pledge Mage. Stonebinder's Familiar's a 2/2 now. Alright, well I can block the 1/4 and take 2. We definitely don't want to let our Spectacle Mage die here. There's the 6th mana, so we can Pledge Mage Pop Quiz. Pledge Mage is a 3/3 then. So potentially block their 2/2 turns with 3/3 out of nowhere. Getting a couple 4/4s is just massive here, though. Yeah, let's just get the 4/4s right now. Now we have the massive blockers on the ground that can also start attacking in if we want, while we have 4 evasive power in the sky. Just keep that pressure on rather than setting up. Well, let's see what kind of nonsense this is. This is probably a Wrath effect. But we can definitely survive a Wrath effect. We've got a Pledge Mage into a draw spell, which should help get out of it a lot. Pledge Mage into Pop Quiz here to get another threat on the board, as well as redraw here. Recoup our losses a bit. Yep, Draconic Intervention it is. And a Stonebound Mentor from our opponent. We've got a Pillar Drop Warden. Could play the 1/5 and just be able to block their stuff and then bring back an Elemental Masterpiece. We don't have enough to cast it yet anyway. I could also just play Pledge Mage, and I could play the Quandrix and Prismari Pledge Mages. I should probably specify, that was probably a little confusing because I have 2 Pledge Mages in hand this whole time. Yeah. Trading Prismari Pledge Mage into their Stonebound Mentor seems super fine to me. So we'll just dump both out so we can keep this treasure token. So if we do draw a Magma Opus or something like that, we're closer to casting it, or if we're trying to Pillar Drop Warden to recast an Elemental Masterpiece, we're also closer to doing that. It's just another Rise of Exodus here. Definitely looks like it. Sure. They do get to scry with their Stonebound Mentor from that. If they exile their own thing. Alright, they chose to just exile an Elemental Masterpiece from our graveyard. Fair enough, because now we've got double Pillar Drop Warden, so that's looking pretty bad for us. I think I want to Pop Quiz here. If I Pillar Drop Warden, I have a 1/5 blocker for their 5/5 Vigilance Stonebound Mentor. That's not really going to help a lot. So let's Pop Quiz, see what we hit. This also lets us attack with our Pledge Mage. We can get a 3/2 here, or we can get a 4/4 later. That's going to be a 5/5. I guess I could Mercurial Transformation and turn my Pledge Mage into a 4/4 here, I guess. so I can attack in without trading, but I actually just want to trade because of the thing they have in hand. Let's just get a Spirit Summoning. And I am just going to cast that right now so that I can try to counter aggro them. Because they're probably going to throw the counters onto the Mentor here as a 5/5 and swing in. Now I could double block and kill that later, and if they attack in too hard, we can crack back with 6 power on board here. Next turn, we're just casting Practical Research, so we don't need the more mana for that. We could cast a Stormkiln Artist here to get treasures while we're casting things, but I think we're just practical researching, and we're going to do it in their end step. Well, this is a trick. If they just have like a burn spell or something, then they get us if we double block the 5/5, but they don't get us if we just kill the 3/2. But if we just block the 3/2, we go down to 5 life here. I don't love going down to 5, but this plays around like a burn spell. And even if it's a combat trick, losing the 3/2 token isn't that bad. Twin Scroll Shaman, little double striker. Draw with our Practical Research. Bunch of lands. Just discard 2 of those. 6 mana here. We get to play a Pillar Drop Warden and a Pledge Mage. It's probably the best blockers we could possibly play here. If we scry in our upkeep, we spend 4, tap that, we have 1 mana. Yeah, it seems like a not great scry, but it looks like we've held down the fort for now. We can pick up a Practical Research or a Pop Quiz with a Pillar Drop Warden eventually. Probably not worth it. Let's just draw blind here because I'm going to play another Pillar Drop Warden. Alright, now, does a Stormkiln Artist really help me on board? Not particularly, so I really want to just not draw any more lands at this point. Try to draw towards an 8 mana card, so I think scrying's pretty good at this point. Yeah, get that land out of here. Like, even if we don't cast anything immediately this turn, which luckily enough we do, digging through the lands is just so important at this point. We do get to start hitting them for 2. No, we don't. That's a 4/5 reach. Never mind. They do have Cogwork Archivist now. They can put a card from a graveyard on bottom of its owner's library, so they can counter our Pillar Drop Warden's effect, which we really need to remember here. Get that land out of here. And Kelpie Guide. Actually really great here, because we can now tap their things with that. So Cogwork Archivist, pretty brutal against the Pillar Drop Wardens. They can respond to its effect. We try to return Practical Research, they just put it on bottom of our deck, and then we lose our Pillar Drop Warden still. But now we do have the Kelpie Guide to tap one of their cards every turn, so we can tap the Cogwork Archivist to get in with Spectacle Mage every turn, start hitting for 2 a turn, puts them on a clock. A 6-turn clock, but a clock nonetheless. Do have to start worrying about milling ourselves a bit. Another Rise of Exodus from our opponent. We have 15 cards left. What do we even have left? All of our masterpieces are gone. We're just looking for Magma Opus. We have Magma Opus, Igneous Inspiration, Heated Debate. We've got some good removal and a Magma Opus, basically. That's about it. Four, five, six, seven, 8. Scry here. We have a lot of good, like, 3 mana cards left. The only thing we could hit and not be able to cast after scrying at this point is pretty much Magma Opus. If they have a second Wrath, then I'll just let him have it, I think. Because we have to find a way to go wide enough to break through this board. Ooh, Retriever Phoenix. That's pretty brutal. 2/2 haste, and this comes back from their graveyard every time that they learn. So a repeatable 2/2 flyer. Actually, no, the Pillar Drop Wardens have reach. See, it's so easy to forget the reach on Pillar Drop Wardens that even I, the player with multiple Pillar Drop Wardens, forgot about it. So Retriever Phoenix is not that bad at all. It's like they grabbed an Introduction to Prophecy here, so they can exile something. Looks like our opponent forgot as well. Unless they have a 3 damage spell here and they just really want to kill one of these. Nope, they just forgot. Heated Debate is the draw. I forgot to do the upkeep thing, but it actually panned out that I forgot to do that because we just draw into a Heated Debate anyway. Like, I can kill Cogwork Archivist if they block Spectacle Mage, so I can 2-for-1 myself to kill the Archivist. That doesn't even really do anything for me, because this is my only flyer anyway. We just don't have any attacks in here. I think we just pass, and now we have a Heated Debate as a backup. 13 cards left. This is real scary. They're definitely going to win the long game with the Cogwork Archivist being able to make sure they don't mill out, and we're already down to 13 cards. We have 3 lands on bottom, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 on board, 2 engrave. So 9, 10, 11, plus 3, 14. So there's 4 left in the next 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cards. 4 left in the next 10 cards, so we have like a 50-50 on land still, so scrying is still pretty important here. How do I... What's going on? How do I... Okay, it literally didn't have the resolve button. I'm sorry, opponent. I don't know what was going on there. I just got like stuck in the deck screen, I guess. Well, Cogwork Archivist plus Stonebound Mentor, a pretty nice combo. They get to scry every time they do that as well. Well, that's brutal. Biblioplex Assistant to get a Rise of Extus back. This is just Rise of Extus Tribal over here. They scry to the top and then it disappears. I wonder what's on top. Rise of Extus is a very strong card once you get to the mana to cast it, because it's a 2-for-1 every time. Exile a card and draw another lesson. Alright, let's get scrying. Got another land out of the way. I can Heated Debate now to kill the Biblioplex Assistant. Still think I prefer just holding on to it. So at this point, there were 4 lands. Now there's only 3 lands out of all these. I might want to just draw, just in case of a Magma Opus. But that's the only card that I couldn't cast if I scry here. Yeah, I mean, there's 1 out of those like 10 cards I can't cast if I scry here, so I should probably still scry. Practical Research? Oh, I guess I can't cast that here either, but I don't want to cast that because that speeds up the clock on me very aggressively. I draw 4 more cards. I'm down to 9. We're definitely getting milled out here. Like, our... Oh, another draw spell. Our plan at this point is probably to kill that Cogwork Archivist and then start looping Magma Opuses with Pillar Drop Wardens. kind of think I have to Mentor's Guidance here. We also get a couple treasures with Stormkiln Artist, which is nice. Like, this is such great selective draw here that I think it's better than the draw 4 discard 2, because that draw 4 discard 2 digs me so far towards my death, whereas this only digs me 2 cards in, but because of the scry it kind of gets me 4 cards deep anyway without like making my deck like a boatload smaller. Yeah, I like playing Rutha here, so if we draw Magma Opus it's just massive. Although I guess they have a million removal spells in hand, which is a thing. Yeah, I actually shouldn't have cast Rutha here, because... Can she return if you don't have something on the stack? No, because you have to have a legal target. Okay, so... I probably still shouldn't have cast Rutha, because if I didn't cast Rutha, I could hold up Heated Debate and Rutha, and then respond to a removal spell with that, and that would have been massive. That was a pretty big punt on my end. Now we don't have a Rutha. Oh, they might not even kill her. They probably will, though. Yep. Just gonna draw blind at this point. I'm only hoping for Magma Opus. We only have 3 cards left now. I think we pass. Just gonna keep on the Rise of Exodus loop. There's 2 cards left. One of these 2 is Magma Opus. It's the last card. We could get Igneous Inspiration here, and then we draw Magma Opus next turn. I don't really want to put Igneous Inspiration on the bottom. I do like killing Cogwork Archivist a lot, so I kind of like Igneous Inspiration and Heated Debate to kill the Archivist. And because I also like killing it before we draw Magma Opus. Ooh, oh no, we want that man in the main phase. This is not going to be great for us if they have a pump spell. Oh, we just have to start from scratch. We could have learned for... Oops. Well... I totally forgot about that. I should have looked at my lesson board before I did this, so I should have inspirationed on just another creature here, just like one of their 2/1s. Not really scared about the Tome Shredder, because they keep putting their stuff back into their deck anyway. And we'll go for a start from scratch, then even if they have a pump spell that kills them. And if they respond with something that gives hexproof, we can Heated Debate in response to that. And then next turn we just go Magma Opus, bring it back to hand, Magma Opus, bring it back to hand, Magma Opus. We don't get to do that all in one turn, but with the treasure tokens we might get to do it twice in one turn, which will be pretty big. Rutha would have been absolutely massive, but even without Rutha, that might be able to close out the game. Okay, looks like we actually kill it here, which means that we get to hold on to Heated Debate for another card here, which is great. So we did get rid of that. So now they only have these 2 flyers. So a Heated Debate does actually get rid of something important. Gets rid of one of their only 2 flyers, although Retriever Phoenix does keep coming back. We found the game where start from scratch was massive. We could have Igneous Inspiration one of the flyers and then start from scratch that, and that would have been really big. Quintorius. Well, I found my heated debate target because Quintorius is devastatingly good here with Tome Shredder and... I killed their other thing that gets things out of the grave. Okay, with Tome Shredder, Quintorius is really good because they get a 3/2 spirit each time. Would I rather kill Quintorius or Tome Shredder? I think I'd rather kill Quintorius because they're likely to have more cards that combo with Quintorius, whereas if I kill Tome Shredder, it's only getting one more card out of the grave. Yeah, I think we kill Quintorius here. They respawn by using the Tome Shredder. And then Magma Opus could kill Tome Shredder then, if we want to, but I could also just hit him for 4 in the face and then Pillar Drop Warden 2 more times. To just hit him for 12 total over time. Which could be a game plan. Alright, there's the Magma Opus. So 4 damage as we choose. Tap 2 permanents, create a 4/4 and draw 2 cards. Oh, I don't like the draw 2 cards. I don't like the draw 2 cards. Uh-oh. But yeah, 4 damage, tap 2 things. So we can do 4 to their face, tap both their flyers, hit for 2 more there. So we hit for 6 total, get a 4/4 out. They die in 2 turns to this. Because we hit for 6 here, and then we hit for 6 again next turn. They have 1, 2, 3 blockers here, actually, so they go block, 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 take 1, 2, 3, 4, go to 3 life. If I save 1 Pillar Drop Warden here, if I attack with everything but 1 Pillar Drop Warden, they go block, 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 take 1, 2, 3. They go to 4 life. I use 2 mana there to pick up a Magma Opus and recast. I can kill them this turn if they don't have anything, and that is like a super risky play, but also super fun. I guess worst case scenario, I can like Magma Opus on the defense. The fact that I can only use it as a sorcery is pretty big. I probably should have just done that in the main phase if this was the plan. But I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it because it's so massive. I have punted several times in the game, so if we end it with one final 2 aggressive punt, that will be beautiful. Alright, I was pretty sure they didn't have anything there, and it looks like they didn't, so the recast of the Magma Opus is going to end it that turn. We definitely could have played that one better. That was a terrifying match, a very long-fought game. The main things there being... keeping the Rutha, to have the Rutha survive would have really locked down the game, and checking out what was in our lesson board before casting Igneous Inspiration so we could actually get the solid 2-for-1 there, kill 2 of their cards instead of dumping Igneous Inspiration and start from scratch on the Cogwork card there. Those were the biggest punts. Alright, so opponents on the play here, we got a solid hand, both our colors. Prismari Campus is great. Spectacle Mage turn 3 into the Practical Research turn 4, potentially. This could be a pretty great hand here. 1-1, so we are in round 3 now. We are playing against blue, black, and green, also known as Sultai, also known as Quandrix plus Witherbloom. I do like these lands a lot. The ones where you reveal a forest or island, or like reveal a basic land type from your hand to make it come to play untapped. Definitely need to collect those for Commander. Now we have double Practical Research. We are just going to draw a million cards this game, that's for sure. That's going to be a fun time. 4 mana, our opponent drops a Eureka Moment, so definitely ramping out here. That's pretty scary. They could have 6 mana next turn, which is pretty big. I'm just going to go for a Practical Research here. They don't have anything on board yet, so the Pillar Drop Wardens aren't exactly blocking anything currently. Sultai's not going to have any haste creatures. Quandrix Cultivator, they are really ramping it out here. So this could definitely be one of those decks that has a ton of the massive fractals, the fractals that come into play with a +1/+1 counter for each land you control, stuff like that, and they could absolutely just overwhelm us with those kind of cards, so definitely worried about that. So we have 5 mana if we discard 2 lands here. So I kind of do like discarding 2 lands, because off of 5 mana we're only 1 away from an Elemental Masterpiece, and we just get to cast another Practical Research or a Pop Quiz here to draw into the mana we need. Yeah. And we are running an 18 lander, so I think we're good to discard 2 lands here. Yep, and there's the 6th land, so we're definitely good on that front. We need 4 mana to cast a Practical Research again. We could cast a Prismari Pledge Mage and a Pop Quiz if I want to cast 2 things this turn. But a Prismari Pledge Mage doesn't do a lot on board, it's just a 3/3, it doesn't block the 3/4 well or anything like that. Pop Quiz does draw into, I guess, a 4/4 token, but we're just going to cast 2 4/4s next turn. Yeah, I think we're just casting a Practical Research here. Maybe a Pillar Drop Warden now. We could block a Cultivator. Yeah, that's probably better. We have plans for the next several turns, so we don't need to cast a Practical Research immediately. Because we already know, like, we have the cards that we need to play things for the next few turns. We play a Pillar Drop Warden this turn, Elemental Masterpiece next turn, Pillar Drop Warden to recast Masterpiece the turn after that. Wandering Archaic's pretty bad for us. Now we have to spend an additional 2 mana whenever we cast an instant or sorcery, or they get to copy it. Wandering Archaic, one of the best pick 1, pack 1 cards you can take, because it's a pretty solid card. It's not like the scariest card in the whole format, but the fact that it's colorless and is pretty powerful makes it a really good first pick. So definitely a card you'll see a lot. So it does tax every instant sorcery play, or they get a copy of it, so casting Elemental Masterpiece is tremendously bad for us right now. I could see Practical Research and spending the extra 2 mana during their end step, trying to draw into our Heated Debate to kill the Archaic, or alternatively just more lands so we can get to 8 mana for our Masterpiece. We could pop Quiz here, that would cost us 5 mana if we don't want them to cast it. Yeah, Archaic's really bad for us here. I think we just keep hitting them in the sky, and now we are just on the Practical Research plan again. Witherbloom Apprentice. 2/2 when they cast an instant or sorcery, they drain 1 life from us. Alright. Go ahead and cast that end step Practical Research. I will pay that and see what we draw into. Really hoping for the Heated Debate. Does this work when we copy stuff too? No, just when we cast it. Alright. Divide by 0 to put it back into our hand, and learn here, so just to slow us down. And they learn for a Necrotic Fumes. They can exile a creature they control to exile a creature or planeswalker. Okay. We do have 7 mana now. Still 1 mana away from the Elemental Masterpiece. We do have enough mana to cast a Pledge Mage and cast a Pop Quiz now. Which I think is fine, because now we just need to draw 1 more land to get to Elemental Masterpiece. We don't need to draw a ton. Guessing this Necrotic Fumes may be killing our flyer here. If they use it immediately, then we're actually 2 mana away from Masterpiece, which is a little sad. But thanks to just having a 1/5 on board, we're not under any pressure. Alright, we'll go for the pop quiz now. Witherbloom Pledge Mage, now they have a 5/5 on board, so their field's definitely scarier than it was before. I am going to pay for that. What shall we learn here? Probably an elemental summoning, just the biggest thing we can. They don't have any artifacts on board. Unfortunately, Wandering Archaic is an avatar and not an artifact. I would love to blow that up if it was. Yeah, then we just take our biggest ability. We've got enough lands to cast this and pay for it. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8. We can cast Masterpiece and pay for it. I think that is the plan now. And then we get to attack in the sky still with Spectacle Mage, put him down to 11. The 18 lands definitely working out a lot for us in this game. We really needed a ton of mana to start casting our big spells in this game. So our 4/4s I don't think are really attacking in well here, but they are blocking against their field. And letting Spectacle Mage keep doing its thing until they decide to kill that. So Dina, Soul Steeper, whenever they gain life, we lose a life. They can sacrifice a creature to give her +X/+O, where X is the sacrificed creature's power. So they have a 1 mana instant speed sacrifice outlet. We do draw the Rutha now, so if we want to do any big instants or sorceries, we can start doubling them. We have 9 mana now, so I can spend 4, 5, 6 to cast Elemental Summoning and 3 mana to cast Rutha. I don't have enough mana to use Rutha and copy an Elemental Summoning this turn, and Elemental Summoning doesn't help a ton because we don't attack in super great on this board. We attack in fine, we lose one of our 4/4s, and everything else would be at least a trade. So if we get like a million 4/4s, then we could start bashing in, but I don't think quite yet, now that we just have 2 of them. So maybe just cast like Rutha and a Pillar Drop Warden. They have no reach out still, so we'll just hit them for 2, put them down to 9. They do have a lot of life gain on the board, which is threatening. So Rutha, Pillar Drop, use our Pillar Drop to pick up another Elemental Masterpiece, probably. Yeah. This is a sorcery speed effect, so I want to do it right now. Next turn, we get to make 4 4/4s with Rutha and Elemental Masterpiece in conjunction with each other. Working together in harmony. Again, I did read the Archaic earlier, but just to double check, this does not copy our copies. It only copies the main instant or sorcery, so we don't have to spend an additional 2 for the copy that we make off of Rutha, luckily. I'm gonna grab another Swamp here with the Emergent Sequence. They do already have the double black with Swamp and Witherbloom Campus. So they already have the Necrotic Fumes mana. They choose to kill Rutha here, so they are gonna let the Flyer just keep going off, which is nice. So we'll just be making a couple 4/4s. So we can't go like crazy off here, but we're still doing fine. Mentor's Guidance, another draw spell. We definitely have the draw power in this deck. I think we're just casting as many 4/4s as we can here still. Again, with only 2 4/4s out, I don't love attacking in. We just lose a 4/4. We lose 2 of our 4/4s to kill one of their 4/4s. Or actually, even worse than that, we lose 2 of our 4/4s to kill their 3/4, their 2/2. So an attack in is not great here. I think we just send in the Spectacle Mage as usual. And drop our Elemental Masterpiece again then. Without the copy. Now that we have 4 4/4s, I think we would slam an all-attack with them next turn. We're also 1 mana away from using Pillar Drop Warden to bring back Elemental Masterpiece and recasting it in the same turn. Should be pretty big. Brackish Trudge is a 4/2 here. So if we attack with 4 4/4s, they get to kill one with the 5/5, trade 4/4s, kill one with their 3/4. So that's 3 of them, and then the last one gets to kill something or get through. So kill like 3 of their cards. Like it's still, we're definitely trading down, but the fact that we're getting to make 2 creatures out of every single spell that we're casting there makes it pretty solid. Ooh, this is a terrifying combo here. We might, oh, we just die. Oh my god, they just Rube Goldberged us out of nowhere. Oh, Plumb the Forbidden. Sacrifice a bunch of stuff on board with 2 Witherbloom Apprentices. Whenever they cast an instant or sorcery, we lose a life and gain a life. And with Dina, whenever they gain a life, we lose a life. Wow, so they give us the ton of life drain from the Plumb the Forbidden, plus the copy it with the Witherbloom Apprentice. Oh my god. They had 11 abilities on the stack. They could have killed us at 20 easy. All of these would trigger Dina again. So because they got to copy the Plumb the Forbidden so much. Yeah, Witherbloom Apprentice with things that can copy themselves a ton, like the Plumb the Forbidden can get those kills out of nowhere. That was unfortunate, but we are a low removal deck, so these kind of combos are just going to just demolish us. Well, what a way to end that. I was not even thinking on that front because, frankly, there's like nothing I can do to dismantle that kind of combo anyway. So not really something that we have to be super concerned about doing our best to play around or anything. If it happens, it happens. We're just gone. Alright, so we are in round 4 now, 1 and 2. Not been a great time for the Prismari deck today, but we can always rally and make a good comeback. Definitely did that in my last sealed event. We started on that just 0-2, and then won like 4 games in a row, I think. Got out of the muck there. See if we can't do the same here. We've got that turn 3 Spectacle Mage. We have the big late game plays here. We have every 7-8 mana card in our deck. So now all we have to do is draw a little more in the mid game. And we've got plans. And there we go. We even drew the Prismari Pledge Mage on curve, which is very nice. And now we have 2 Spectacle Mages as well, making these cost 2 less. So next turn I cast another Spectacle Mage, and if I have another land on turn 5, I get to start casting Elemental Masterpieces. This could be a massive game. However, Tempted by the Auric is a huge swing in my opponent's favor there, because not only do they take one of my Spectacle Mages to keep me off of Masterpiece for another turn, but they are also Prismari, which means they're definitely getting value out of this card. Tempted by the Auric, a very, very solid card. I did use that in one of my previous limited decks. I don't recall which one, and it was always fantastic. Yeah, we have to just pass here. We start casting our Masterpieces next turn. Radiant Scroll Wielder with only Tempted by the Auric engrave is brutal. So they just get to recast Tempted by the Auric now. Radiant Scroll Wielder, another absurd limited card here. This one being just insane value over the course of the game. Yeah, I think we're just getting dismantled by Tempted plus Radiant Scroll Wielder. That was just already such a big swing in the early game that it's going to be very hard to come back from that. Now we do have 6 mana next turn, but it's not enough for Masterpiece anymore because they stole both of our Spectacle Mages. At least they don't have any more instants or sorceries to copy with Radiant Scroll Wielder. Usually the Scroll Wielder gets to like draw you an extra card every single turn. Luckily, they only had the one instant sorcery, but it was a very, very good one to copy. So we have Elemental Masterpiece next turn. If we draw another land, we have Magma Opus after that. Like, these are powerful enough effects that if we survive to them, we can still do our best to make a comeback, but it's going to be really hard. So our opponent has just such swingy plays in the early game, followed by an immense amount of value off of Radiant Scroll Wielder recasting something every turn. So even an effect like Expressive Iteration, that's just like a draw 1 or draw 2 here. Here it is a draw 2 because they throw the Pledge Mage into exile and cast it and throw another card into their hand. Even with just little effects like that, Scroll Wielder's just insane because now they get to do their draw 2 effect twice in a row. And every other instant or sorcery that they draw, they get to cast again. Scroll Wielder is definitely one of those kind of limited bombs that's incredibly hard to beat. They're kind of the most frustrating sort of limited bombs because they're the kind of cards that if they resolve and you don't have a way to deal with it, you're just going to lose the game flat out. But also, because what they do is technically just give you value over the course of every turn, they don't actually kill you immediately. Like, I'm actually a bigger fan of like Carnage Tyrant type limited bombs that are like 6 mana, 7/6 trample, hexproof, can't be countered, where it's like, okay, well, I lose. I'm a bigger fan of those kind of limited bombs than the Radiant Scroll Wielder kinds, because the Scroll Wielder, it always feels like, well, technically I'm not dead here, I'm not dying. Like, it doesn't feel like it's impossible to win here, but basically it is. Scroll Wielder has just gone off here to where even if I kill it with Magma Opus next turn, it's gotten so much value. My opponent's got a full grip of 6 cards here. We do draw the Heated Debate, but it's going to be too little too late. I guess we get to Magma Opus it. Can you cast things in their untap step? Is that something you're supposed to be able to do? I'm going to Google that. Can you cast things during opponent's untap? I don't think so. Can't do anything in the untap step. Okay, so we can't cast until the upkeep. So if we want to Magma Opus and tap their flyers, we have to... If we want to Magma Opus without them recasting something, we have to do it now. So I don't think we want to Magma Opus then. I think we want to just Heated Debate. And then slam in with the 4/4s. Because I can Magma Opus to kill both the flyers, which is big. And if there was ever a game where we were gonna somehow break through the Scroll Wielder, this would be the one. Of course, I'm saying that after literally just saying that the Scroll Wielder, if it's gone off for a few turns, you've already lost. If you think otherwise, you may be in denial. So maybe I'm in denial here, but, you know, Magma Opus, that's a thing. Burying Books is pretty bad for us. That's going to permanently kill the 4/4. All right, come on, Magma Opus. I believe in you. You're like a big mythic rare bomby effect. Let's reverse bomb the opponent here. Stormkiln Artist is the play. They get a treasure token every time they cast or copy an instant or sorcery. So this is actually seeing some like legacy vintage play in the fun like Storm kind of decks. I don't know if that's in any competitive legacy or vintage play or just in like fun legacy vintage play, but I have seen people on Magic Online using this card in Storm decks, and it looks hilarious and incredibly fun. Serpentine Curve, get a 6/6 on the board. That is pretty big. Pretty big, I say. All right, so we are going to Magma Opus on the defensive here. In their upkeep, I think we kill both of the 2/2s, tap down their 6/6 and their Stormkiln Artist. If I don't want this to be countered, I have to do it right now, just in case. But if I do it right now, then I have to like block a 6/6 with a 4/4 and a 3/3. I take 6 there. Yeah, I can't really survive if I do this right now and don't get value out of the tap effect. I guess I get a 4/4 out of this, so I could. No, I want to do this. I want to do this when they go to combat. Or ideally in their upkeep, I should have set the stop for their upkeep so I could do it before they draw a card, so they're less likely to have a counterspell. But doing it when they move to combat is fine too. That is when Arena likes that you do things just because. Arena likes to simplify things a little bit like that and stop less times during the game. Alright, that is surprising. It goes off without a hitch. I was expecting at least just like some sort of little pump spell to save something, but I am happy with that. They do have Pillar Drop Warden to recast Serpentine Curve. That would be their biggest play. Get another 6/6. That is pretty bad for me. I think we just Elemental Masterpiece here. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 mana. I can cast Elemental Masterpiece and Pop Quiz. Probably the best option. We can double block like every fractal token they have. So I think I attack him with these two. I don't think I attack him with Pledge Mage. If I attack him with Pledge Mage as well, like their crackback can be really bad for me. Like they can afford to take 11 here and go to 7, and then if they just crack back with everybody, I have to like block there, take 4. That's really bad. I think I want to have 3 blockers for sure. Just send in the 4/4s. And they're just going to scry here. I'll stop on my upkeep so I have the option of using my campus in my upkeep. And they're going to go for the double block here to kill one of these. We will kill the Prismari Pledge Mage and get in for 4. So we'll see what they're doing here. They do get to pick something up with Pillar Drop Warden. We can pick up that Serpentine Curve, get another big threat on this board. But it's still small enough to get double blocked by 2 4/4s and only trade with one of them, which is nice. We just really hope that Pop Quiz draws us into some really great stuff. But our boards are like really close to being at parity. It's just our life total has been beaten down pretty hard here. I'm definitely going to trade the Pledge Mage for the Stormkiln Artist, although this is a pretty suspicious attack. I don't have much of a choice otherwise because I'm at 6 life here, so if I try to play around like combat tricks and just not block something, I just die because I'm at 6. So I just like don't block and then they combat trick the one that gets through. And I can't afford to, if they don't have a combat trick, just lose a 4/4 for no value. So I think this is our best block here. We'll see what they have. Could definitely be bad for me. Alright, looks like nothing. We are just taking the trades here. But maybe they have a sorcery removal spell to get one of these out of the way so the 6/6 can get in. We'll be casting the Pop Quiz in the end step. Draw into a Pillar Drop Warden and grab an Elemental Summoning for another 4/4. That's the biggest card we've got. We can start from scratch, destroy an artifact. They just have treasure tokens. The 1 damage doesn't do anything either. And Mercurial Transformation just barely ever does anything. Yeah, we'll just take Elemental Summoning. And now I have 11 mana of cards to cast in my hand. We're not going to scry in our upkeep. Let's just draw for turn. We hit a land. Go to main. So I do have enough mana to cast all of these cards, so I suppose I will. We can't really attack into the 6/6, so we are playing it defensively here. Pillar Drop Warden can let us recast Elemental Masterpiece. It can also let us recast Magma Opus. That's way bigger. Okay, so that's the plan there. I think we play the things that we'd like to get countered first. Things that we don't really care if they get stopped. So like Pledge Mage first, then Elemental Summoning, then Pillar Drop Warden, because Pillar Drop Warden's the most important card. And if Pillar Drop Warden survives, Magma Opus could absolutely just be game. Next turn we get to tap down their blockers, deal 4 damage to their face, and hit them with a ton of power on board. Maybe I was being way too pessimistic about the Scroll Wielder earlier, but the card is super threatening. And the Tempted by the Auric to go with it was pretty beautiful. But this is a really swingy format. Maybe I underestimated Magma Opus. So they are scrying in the upkeep here. They are digging. Digging for solutions. They scry to the bottom. Draw for turn. This may be it. We'll see. Expressive Iteration still digging. Drawing some more cards here. Quandrix Pledge Mage is the draw, so they get another blocker, but Magma Opus does tap down 2 cards. If they can kill the Pillar Drop Warden, they do stop the Magma Opus. And then we're back into a game here. We're in a long game. If they do kill Pillar Drop Warden, we're absolutely just scrying off of our campus and our upkeep. We have 10 mana off of the campus. So 4 here, tap the campus, and we have 6 mana untapped. They send in the 6/6. Probably hope to kill the Pillar Drop Warden here. We'll go for that block. If something goes really bad here, we just lose our 4/4 and a 3/3 instead of 2 4/4s. Looks like we do get to kill that. We do still have a lethal off of a Magma Opus, so we'll draw and go to main and go for it here. If they've got the counter, that'll be sad, but otherwise... this will be great. Alright, we did draw into another blocker, so we are really safe to attack in. And that'll just be game, put him to -1. I really did not think we were going to win that one. That Radiant Scroll Wielder always a super solid card, as well as Tempted by the Auric, both cards that I have played with and against, and I am frequently terrified by. So Magma Opus, I guess, just being the card I have not played with or against very often, as a card that I sorely underestimated there, being able to turn things around. Definitely a really hard-fought game. We were always on the back foot for quite a while there, but with the Pillar Drop Wardens to recast those big spells, that can do some insane things, as we saw there. So 2-2, that is 4 rounds in. We're heading into round 5 now with an even record. We'll see how things progress from here. All right, here we are in round 5. Got the Masterpiece in the Opus and the Pillar Drop Warden to recast them. We just don't have those early game plays. It is A little risky keep if we're playing against an aggressive deck, like a quick Silver Quill deck or something. We could get slapped pretty hard, but if we're playing against another mid-range or late-game deck, this can definitely take over the game in the late game, as we've seen from a double Magma Opus last round. And that can be absolutely brutal. Definitely don't think that I am discarding any of these to get a treasure token. If we were under an immense amount of pressure, we could, just so we could cast Pillar Drop Warden on turn 3 instead of 4, but they just have a 2/2 out, so we've got time to wait for our 4th land. This is a really fun card. It gets all of the abilities of your other attackers. Flying, First Strike, Double Strike, Death Touch, Indestructible, Lifelink, Menace, Trample. By itself, it's a 2-mana 2/2 Vigilance, which is already pretty good, already above curve. And if you get the extra effect out of it, it's just insane. So Reflective Golem doubles all of their like pump spells. Whenever they cast an instant or sorcery that targets only the golem, they can spend 2 to target something else with it. So that's pretty fun with combat tricks. I think we play Pillar Drop Warden here. If we play Spectacle Mage, it does make these cheaper, but we would cast Spectacle Mage this turn, and next turn Elemental Masterpiece would still cost 6, so we wouldn't be able to curve into it. So I think we'd rather play the better blocker. We can cast Spectacle Mage next turn, and then on turn 6 play Elemental Masterpiece off of the Spectacle Mage's cost reduction there. Guiding Voice. Oh wow, that is really good with the Reflective Golem. It's going to be really fun to see what kinds of combos our opponent has found for the Reflective Golem here, but that is insane. They get a permanent buff on both of them and learn twice, grabbing Expanded Anatomy and Environmental Sciences. Uh-oh, I'm going to get dismantled by a combo deck here. Expanded Anatomy next turn with 5 mana. Give them both 2+1/+1 counters and Vigilance. This is going to be a terrifying matchup, that's for sure. Like, I can cast Spectacle Mage here, and then I can Elemental Masterpiece next turn and get a couple 4/4s, but then we have a couple 4/4s against a 5/5 and a 5/6. There's not much else I can do here, so get that Spectacle Mage out. It's the best we can do here. I think I'm about to get crushed. This is my first time seeing someone even run the Reflective Golem, I think, but our opponent certainly has drafted the deck around it. That is really nice. Oh, interesting. So this might be an instant speed combat trick if they're not going for the Expanded Anatomy, or they just don't have the 5th land. They want to wait until they do. Whichever one I block, if their combat trick only costs 2, they can target it on both of them either way. So I guess it doesn't really matter. I'll just block the Thunderous Order. Alright, maybe they're just stuck off of the 5th mana here. That would be one of our only hopes to survive through this game, is if it just takes some time for our opponent to set up here. They do get to kill the Pillar Drop Warden now, which is not great for us, because that is easily our best blocker. But now we get a couple 4/4s. We can double block Reflective Golem after they cast the Expanded Anatomy. That'll make it a 5/6. We block a 5/6 with 2 4/4s. They'd have to spend 5 mana to do that and get the counters on both of them. So we've got a plan. We've got a plan here. We also have Igneous Inspiration. We could kill the Thunderous Order right now, and then they don't double up on them. So we could kill Thunderous Order and cast Mentor's Guidance, scry 2, draw 2. But then we take 5 from Reflective Golem. I guess we're taking 5 either way, because I would just double block the Golem with 2 4/4s and let the Order come through if I cast Elemental Masterpiece. If I cast Igneous Inspiration, I'm also setting up for Magma Opus next turn to be a very, very likely play, because I'm scrying 2 and drawing 2. Yeah, that seems pretty good here. So let's set up for that. Actually, start from scratch and just blow them both up. Never mind. This is incredible. Start from scratch actually being the best lesson in our deck for that round against the Cogwork thing, and then this round against the Reflective Golem. It was incredible both times. Yeah, I need to get more used to clicking on the deck and just looking at the sideboard, checking out our lessons when we're making decisions like that. Because it was possible that I just cast Elemental Masterpiece there, which would definitely have been the worst play because we have that start from scratch for the Reflective Golem there. Of course, our opponent does have the Pillar Drop Warden to block our Spectacle Mage now. No really terrifying instants or sorceries to return right now, to bring back. But they can bring back like a Rip Apart and kill something again. I want an Elemental Masterpiece, get a couple 4/4s. They're doing a Mentor's Guidance to make sure that I can Magma Opus. Don't really need to Magma Opus immediately. We can just get 4/4s and start slamming in with those. I can wait on the land. If I don't draw it next turn, I get to cast a Pledge Mage and Mentor's Guidance, slam in with some 4/4s. Pillar Drop Rescuer brings back the Reflective Golem, so they can go for that combo again with the Expanded Anatomy. It will take some time to set up though, and yeah, we are at Magma Opus mana now, so I can tap both their blockers down, kill Pillar Drop Rescuer, hit him for 2, get another 4/4, I hit for 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I hit for 12 if I do that. That's so big. I kind of want to just do that. 7, 8, 9, 10. I could hit for 14 if I just tap both their creatures, but I think I would rather kill Pillar Drop Rescuer so I can keep attacking with Spectacle Mage without being worried about it dying. So we're going to do 2 to Pillar Drop, 2 to their face. We're going to tap... Oh, they're both Pillar Drop Warden, Pillar Drop Rescuer. Okay, 2 to Rescuer, 2 to their face. Tap the Warden, tap a Mountain. 2 there, 2 there. Boom. Draw a couple cards, get another 4/4, slam in with everybody. They're down to 8. We got a big field here. We've even drawn into Arutha for if we get another big spell. We have Mentor's Guidance to draw more cards. We have a couple 3/3s that can start bashing in as well. We do have an Expel for one of the 4/4s, so we attack all. They block 2 4/4s, take 2, go to 6. Seems pretty big. Stormkiln Artist is awesome with Mentor's Guidance. We get 2 treasure tokens off of that. Although, it's probably better to just make the Pledge Mages, to be honest. Make a couple Pledge Mages and then Mentor's Guidance. I think we slam in here. Could go for a double block here, but it wouldn't kill anything actually, so never mind. Opponent is too big brain for my silly blocks. Scry 2, draw 2 should be massive. We've got a big old board. Get a Spectacle Mage, sure. I would like an instant or sorcery here, so it might be solid to dig that out, but another evasive creature is great too. To draw 2 more Spectacle Mages now. This is another game I was really concerned about. Our opponent just missing on the 5th land was a massive swing in our favor. Draconic Intervention for 3 to everybody. We do keep the 4/4s, so we can still bash in, hit them for 4 here, put them to 2 life. Which is great. We just want to play as many creatures as possible, so we play Spectacle Mage, play Stormkiln because it's a little more expensive than Spectacle Mage. I guess another Spectacle Mage, so they need another reach creature even if they manage to blow up these elementals. They do have 3 cards that we don't know about. I think the best they could really hope for is just a bunch of blockers here. Kelpie Guide's a pretty good draw. I think we are slamming in with everybody again. Silver Quill Pledge Mage could, with an instant, save them here by getting lifelink. See what the instant is here. They may be doing it pre-combat. Study Break to tap both of the flyers. That means that we get to attack in with both 4/4s. They can double block one of them and take 4, so they go to 1 life, because they gain 3, go to 5, but take 4. I think it's worth it to put them to 1 here to lose a 4/4. Definitely kill the lifelinker. And now Kelpie Guide, if we draw 1 more land, is brutal. And we also just have a massive board. Basically need to board wipe us to get out of this one. Velomachus Lorehold does a lot. Attacks in and casts their best instant or sorcery. If they didn't hit anything out of the top, that's a brutal, and that is going to lead to the concession there. I think it looks at like the top 5, like equal to the amount of damage it does or something. I don't know, but they missed pretty hard there, so that was not a great time for our opponents. So we have stabilized our record here. We're in 3-2 now, so 3-3 at the very least. It's a very solid Strixhaven Prismari deck here. So let's see how we do in round 6. Okay, we got that turn 2 Pledge Mage. We have both the Masterpieces and the Opus if we make it to the late game. Go ahead and keep this. If we hit 1 land, we get a Pledge, Quandrix Pledge Mage out. And yeah, we've got an 18 land deck here, and we've got a couple ramp creatures to help hit these big spells like the Kelpie Guide that we saw last game, as well as those flying bird shamans that I forgot the name of. Campus Guide will start things off from our opponent. They're on double swamp right now, and they choose not to grab a basic, so we still don't know what their second color is. There's the Spectacle Mage that I forgot the name of. I like Quandrix Pledge Mage first. Well, no, Spectacle Mage is probably better, because Quandrix Pledge Mage isn't going to attack into this Campus Guide unless I draw an instant or sorcery that I can cast, and right now they all cost a ton of mana. So Spectacle Mage at least can start hitting them in the sky no matter what we draw. Although they are playing just black so far, so if we're trying to draw removal out of them, I actually think we'd rather them kill the Quandrix Pledge Mage than the Spectacle Mage, because we do have all these big spells. So here's a Prismari Pledge Mage. They just have triple swamp right now, so I wonder why they didn't grab the land off Campus Guide. Maybe they are just hiding their second color until they need it, and they do have it already. I think we attack in with Spectacle Mage. We don't have an instant or sorcery to cast right now for Prismari Pledge Mage to get in. I would rather cast the Quandrix one here than the Prismari one, just because it is more expensive and a little harder to cast. Definitely better if we draw into the 3 mana instants and sorceries that we do have in this deck. For black, I would be really interested to see a mono-colored deck in this format. So hopefully they are just mono-black. That would be really cool. So we do get to keep hitting with the Spectacle Mage, but we're certainly not hitting all the mana we need right now. So we are on a bit of a slow start here, but our opponent is as well. Just a 2-1 and a 3-4. There's the 5th black mana from our opponent. Again, could be Witherbloom or Silver Quill, green, black, or green, white. If they are in 2 colors, there's Mentor's Guidance. This is what I've been looking for. Super good with the Quandrix Pledge Mage as well, because it does copy itself. That is probably the best draw that we could have hit right now. Of course, it does not play well into our opponent's Mage Hunter. We do take multiple damage from that. But we really need to draw the cards. We need to make the Pledge Mage bigger, and this does all of that quite well. We have hit pretty good cards here as well. A couple lands is exactly what we're looking for. So they still don't have anything big enough to... Well, still don't have anything in the sky, is what I mean to say. So we get to keep attacking the Spectacle Mage. And we have fine blockers against their field. A 4/4 can block a 3/4. 2 3/3s can block a 6/6. Or can block a 5/5. They could block a 6/6 and trade with that too. But luckily this is only a 5/5. We do have 5 mana next turn, so we're 1 mana away from the Elemental Masterpieces starting to go off, get some 4/4s. Mage Hunter's Onslaught is going to be a big aggressive play here if they want to send in an attack here, because we'll lose some life off of our blocks as well. Ooh, really massive with the Essence Infusion to buff the Witherbloom Pledge Mage turn into a 7/7 lifelinker here. It does look like our opponent is on the mono-black deck. This is definitely a very interesting deck to face up against here. We're absolutely not blocking that. We would lose a Pledge Mage and just stop the 7 damage. When our Pledge Mages are definitely big enough to double block and kill things on this board, we would much rather do that. We are at 5 mana now, so we can cast a Stormkiln Artist here, and then we can cast Elemental Masterpiece next turn, and by casting the Masterpiece, we'll get the treasure token to be able to cast Magma Opus. So that is our biggest solution to this Witherbloom Pledge Mage threat that we're facing against. We may actually have to start chump blocking with the Prismari Pledge Mages at this point, because if I don't, I do take 7, and I don't want to triple block really, but now I can threaten the triple block. And they're at 21 life, so they might want to take it slow. Of course, they are against a Prismari deck, so even if they don't know what we have in hand, which is incredible late-game cards, they can still expect pretty good late-game spells from a Prismari deck. So they will probably still try to push the aggro here. Just fingers crossed, hoping that they don't. There are also quite a few combat tricks in the format. Rise of Exodus to get rid of the Stormkiln Artist instead of the Spectacle Mage. So that if we do any of the combo shenanigans and stuff, we're not doing anything insane. I guess they do get to grab Inkling Summoning from the Rise of Exodus, so now they have a flying blocker for the Spectacle Mage here. So that is pretty good. We got on to 4 life if we don't chump block with a Pledge Mage here, and that is dangerously low against a Mage Hunter, because that drains us for a life whenever we cast or copy an instant or sorcery. So I think we have to make the chump block here if that is the only attack. If they attack him with both, I will go ahead and kill Mage Hunter. But yeah, just attacking with that. We'll make the chump block, then we get the Masterpiece Elemental tokens to be able to block the Witherbloom Pledge Mage. Rutha's pretty good here. With all these big spells, the problem is that she doesn't help us curve into them, because we're already at the mana where we can start casting them, so at this point, I think it's too late to dump her on this board. We just need the 4/4s to block their 7/7. And we are still not planning on blocking with Spectacle Mage anytime soon, because we need that cost reduction to cast Elemental Masterpiece, and we need it to cast Magma Opus even if we draw another land. Like, the damage that we're doing to our opponent isn't likely to matter a ton, but we're just in a position where there's no way that we're planning on losing Spectacle Mage on blocks. So Magma Opus is going to be really good here. Now we get to tap down Witherbloom Pledge Mage, Mage Hunter, and kill every other creature on their board. So I could get in for a big attack here. I don't really want to get in for a big attack, so maybe we just leave it on the defensive, but that lets them have more instant speed cards to stop it. Yeah, I'll just use it right now and just attack with Spectacle Mage, I think. So we want to do 1 to Poet, 1 to the Flyer, 1 to Campus Guide, 1 to their face. We want to tap Mage Hunter, Pledge Mage. We get another 4/4, we draw 2 cards. I can block a 7/7 with a 4/4 and a 3/3. Maybe I can attack with one of these here, because I just like double block there. I can make a chump block there at this point because we have another Elemental Masterpiece coming up. Probably better to play it safe because we have such powerful cards here to definitely take over this game. So I should probably leave as many blockers as I can so they can't, like, surprise. I have 2 removal spells, get me bad. Hunt for Specimens, we'll learn for a card here and gain them some life. Pest Summoning is the card that they grab, so they definitely have the chump blockers on the ground for the 4/4s as well as the 7/7s, so every time I attack in, they just chump block some of them and kill one of the others. So we are going to be going for as big of late game plays as possible, so we're going to go for the double Elemental Masterpiece off of Rutha if we can. So I think we cast that. And another 3/3 doesn't change this board a ton, so I'd rather hold up the 4 mana to be able to use my Prismari Campus, I think. Yeah, I think that's better than dumping out the Pledge Mage here. A Scry is just more valuable right now. And I'm very unlikely to Scry in my upkeep, but just in case, we'll put that stop there. So I have that option. But with all these 4/4s on board, just another 3/3 doesn't really change anything. Arrogant Poet is the play. Wow, Pillar Drop Wardens would be pretty big here. Being able to cast a Magma Opus again would be incredible. Okay, so we are going to my turn now. We'll go ahead and do our Scry. And get rid of that mountain. So pretty successful Scry there. Draw for turn. Another Rutha. Alright. We've got the mana to Masterpiece twice, so I would like to do that. I do go down to 7 to do it, which is a little scary against the Arrogant Poet, because that does attack in with flying, so we probably need to leave Spectacle Mage to trade with that at this point. Just the single 7/7 is a pretty good blocker for the 4/4s, but once we hit the point where we get to attack with, you know, like 5 4/4s every turn, it's probably worth the attack. Are we attacking in this turn, though? Like, we have a million blockers, so we don't need to worry about the blockers, except for Spectacle Mage for Arrogant Poet. So we attack them with 3 4/4s and a 3/3. What's the worst that can happen? They kill a 3/3 with Mage Hunter, they kill a 4/4 with a 7/7, they just chump block the other 4/4s. I don't think an attack in's that great here. I think we just make 4 4/4s, and then next turn we start attacking with, you know, like 6 4/4s a turn, something like that. I don't think we send an attack this turn. Mage Hunter has definitely put in a lot of work for an opponent. Plumb the Forbidden here, gain a bunch of life, draw a bunch of cards. Because of the pest tokens. I guess they do gain life from Witherbloom Pledge Mage as well off of each copy. Yeah, this is pretty bad. Plumb the Forbidden definitely has been putting in a lot of work for our opponents today. That is a card that's definitely a lot higher on than I was before, seeing our opponents use them here. Oh my god, these are some rough draws for us, because that's 3 creatures that can attack as flyers. So even if we trade Spectacle Mage into this Arrogant Poet, we have to worry about another Arrogant Poet and a Silver Quill Pledge Mage, potentially getting flying whenever they cast an instant or sorcery, so that is their biggest play they can do against us here. I think I have to make this block here. I mean, I go to 5 otherwise, and then next turn they just attack all 3 and kill me if they have an instant or sorcery. We draw into a Practical Research. I probably should have scryed in the upkeep there, because now we really, really need a way to deal with these flyers. But now I can cast a Practical Research and still have 4 mana up, so if I draw Igneous Inspiration or Heated Debate, that is a very good draw. Yeah, I think we do it main phase here, looking for the removal. Of course, we take damage from that Mage Hunter, which is bad. We do draw into Igneous Inspiration. Not going to discard that. We'll discard... definitely discard 1 Rutha, because we have 2, and then just discard probably one of the untapped lands. I guess an island, because double campus could be a thing later here. So we cast Igneous Inspiration, we kill the Arrogant Poet because that can attack in with flying, even if they don't play an instant or sorcery, whereas Silver Quill needs them to play an instant or sorcery. But I think we wait till post-combat to do this, because now I could even Igneous Inspiration to kill Pledge Mage, potentially. They have so many creatures, though, I can't attack in with too many here, or it'll go really poorly for me. I think I need 3 blockers here, mainly, so I attack with 5 4/4s. I guess I haven't played a land this turn, so I can cast Igneous Inspiration and play a Pledge Mage, so I can attack in with 6. Alright, we might actually kill the Pledge Mage here, but that does puts us to 5, so if they have the thing to give flying, we would die. Yeah, maybe that's not a thing we can do. Oh, we put him to 3? Oh my god. Oh! Okay. That's not how I expected to end that game, but I'll so take it. I will so take it. Definitely glad I post-combated that spell. Oh my god. Alright, so that puts us to 4 and 2. Another Very terrifying, stressful game, very close one for sure. But that does put us to 4-3 at least, where we get pretty much everything we spent in back out of this draft. So that is always what I like to see. Okay, we are now in round 7. We have that turn 2 Pledge Mage. We got a Pop Quiz to draw cards. We have the Rutha early enough that we may actually be copying things early on, which is always fun. Seems like a great hand to me. We have great early game blockers here. We have a 3-3 blocker turn 2, a 1-4 blocker turn 3, and a 1-5 blocker turn 4. If our opponent is aggressive, we have the start to slow them down. Of course, our opponent is on Quandrix here, so with Quandrix they will be more likely a late game ramp sort of strategy with just really big stuff later on, much like what we're doing here in Prismari. They do have the Quandrix Apprentice into the field trip here, so they are grabbing a bunch of lands from their deck. Whenever they cast an instant or sorcery, they get to grab a land for their top 3, and field trip grabs them a forest, puts it into play, and learns for elemental summoning here. I don't really want a Spectacle Mage here, that's for sure, because I don't have anything to do with it. I could Rutha here, get another blocker and set up, or I could just draw with Pop Quiz. Don't really need to draw into anything here. I mean, I do need to draw into a late game card, like Elemental Masterpiece, or Magma Opus, but I don't need to draw those until I have like 6 mana out, so we don't have to cast Pop Quiz quite yet. I guess Spectacle Mage does get to attack it, and we already have the blockers on the ground. Yeah, we'll go Spectacle Mage first. If we cast Rutha, once we hit 5 mana, we could double Pop Quiz, which is fun. But again, we need 5 mana to do that, so I can wait to cast Rutha until next turn if the plan is to double Pop Quiz. This way I do get to start chipping in at them, maybe get a little aggressive here, because we're likely to be against a kind of slow deck here, being a Quandrix deck. 5 mana up for them now, and they do cast that Elemental Summoning. Now I may want to cast a Pillar Drop Warden here. Igneous Inspiration is a great card here. Double Igneous Inspiration next turn off of Arutha. Maybe we do just take the 4 for a turn. I could even see, because we don't have a 5 mana or greater card in hand, I could see double blocking the 4/4 with a Pledge Mage and a Spectacle Mage. We just cast Rutha this turn, and next turn we can cast 2 Igneous Inspirations to blow up 2 like 3 or less power creatures, or toughness creatures, or if they don't attack with a 4/4, we can blow that up with 2 Inspirations, and we obviously learn each time we do that. That seems really big. I'm definitely going to play the Rutha here. I'm actually not going to attack, so I can threaten as many blocks as possible, and I would actually double block Pledge Mage, Spectacle Mage into that 4/4 if it attacks in. It'll go poorly if they have like a good pump spell, but otherwise they just kill one of our creatures at the cost of their 4/4. So I'm willing to risk it here for the biscuit. The worst this possibly goes, they keep the 4/4 out, and then we still get to do the double Inspiration next turn to kill it. And now we get the double Inspiration to kill Mathematician Quandrix Apprentice, and they just have a 1/1 out, which is awesome. If they don't have a counter spell here. Oh yeah. That's the stuff right there. That's what you love to see. So I could get a 3/2 for 3 mana, or I could just get the 4/4 for 5. Probably want the 4/4 for 5. I do have 5 mana. It would be easier to copy the 3/2 with Rutha if I do that again. Oh yeah, I can just get both. They don't have any artifacts out. Oh, they're just giving me the good game. Are they just going to scoop them up here? I would respond good game, but I don't really want my opponent to concede right now. But I also don't want them to concede without me also saying good game, because then I would feel a little bad. This is why I don't deal with emotes. Usually I just have them disabled because it just kind of stresses me out. I have enough social anxiety in just real life. I don't need it in my card games. Alright, So we're down to 19 now. What do we do here? We have 6 mana, so we can cast a Rutha and we can pop quiz, or we can cast a Rutha and make a spirit summoning. We can play a Stormkiln Artist and a Pledge Mage and just have a ton of blockers out. I do like setting up the Rutha. Rutha plus pop quiz could be hilarious. Again, just draw a million cards. Or we could even Rutha with elemental summoning. Yeah, Rutha seems pretty big. So I definitely like Rutha. And maybe we even hold off. Oh yeah, we can't cast Spirit Summoning this turn anyway, because it does cost 1 red for Rutha, 2 red for Spirit Summoning. Yeah, I would rather play Pledge Mage than Pop Quiz. I was going to say, we might even hold off on Spirit Summoning and just try to copy every single instant or sorcery we cast this game. Of course, if they have any removal for the Rutha, they're going to do it as soon as possible. Bookworm is definitely a big card that can absolutely turn things around back into my opponent's favor here. A 7/7, they gain life and draw a card when they play it, and they get to keep recasting it if it ever dies. So that is a massive turnaround here for our opponent. We've got 6 mana, so we can cast a 4 mana spell and copy it with Rutha. Can't really do anything about that Bookworm right now. I can't cast a 5 mana spell and copy it, so I can't Elemental Summoning twice, which would be big enough to block Bookworm. Yeah, this is not good. I don't know what's best here. We have so many options, and none of them really get us out of this. I guess we could be playing Practical Research and trying to draw into like Magma Opus, and I'd like to do it main phase because I don't think I've played a land this turn, but I could be wrong on that. I do want these lands, especially with Kelpie Guide, so I'm going to get rid of the Spirit Summoning. Okay, we haven't played a land, so I could cast a 2 mana spell. Don't have one anymore. I'll just play the tapped Campus and pass turn. We're going to take a hit from the Bookworm for sure. There's no way we're scrying in our upkeep. We have so much stuff to cast here. But Kelpie Guide is a solution to Bookworm, so Kelpie Guide is a massively good draw for us, being able to tap the Bookworm down every turn, so we have a way to deal with it without putting it in their graveyard, so they can't just recast it again over and over. So Kelpie Guide is our plan against the Bookworm. Zamone's pretty scary here. They get to draw 2 cards a turn off of her, which could be pretty bad for us, unless we try to go for like a mill plan here. So if we find any removal, she will most likely be the target. Kelpie Guide unfortunately doesn't tap anything immediately, but it will in the future. I think we play Kelpie Guide here. If I hold 5 mana up, I could Pop Quiz and copy it and do that during their turn with Rutha, so I can block and Pop Quiz copy. So I would go, Bookworm's just going to hit me for 7, I go to 5, but I can block there, I can block there, I can block there, take like 3, I go to like 2 life, so it would be rough. Might be worth it. Does seem really risky. Like a Pillar Drop Warden's just a really good blocker and probably the safest play. Could also play Stormkiln Artist. It doesn't seem as good. I do need to draw into those big spells like Magma Opus. That's why I really want to Pop Quiz here. Well, we'll play the Pillar Drop Warden. Because, I mean, Kelpie Guide just shut down Bookworm. I'm just worried about them drawing extra cards right now. Which doesn't actually, like, pressure me on board. But it is going to be a bad time. So Field Trip is the play here. Grab another land and learn a lesson. Fractal Summoning? Okay, alright. Yeah. Yeah, this is not good. Ooh, and they do have the Mage Duel to just kill Rutha there, so if we held on to Pop Quiz, we could have returned Rutha at instant speed to kind of counter that. So Pop Quiz would have worked better for us, but if they're grabbing Fractal Summonings here, we're in a very dangerous position either way. kind of have to just take this. We do not have 8 power on the board, so it would just be a chump block whatever we do. And if we do a chump block, we have less creatures for like when they try to go wide and kill us. This is really bad. Like, not only is it a chump block, it's a chump block into a trample creature, so they still chip in for a bunch of damage. Do you think Quandrix decks are probably our worst matchup just because of how massive their creatures could be here? We definitely, in blue-red, all of our removal is just like damage-based or temporary, and we don't have a ton of removal in this deck. That's definitely on us. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 mana. I can spend 3 to pop quiz, and then I have 6 left. Not enough to Magma Opus. Because I could have 7 if I untap the Kelpie Guide, but yeah, that's not enough. I think we have to just play a bunch of blockers here. We can Spectacle Mage, Elemental Summoning. Like, we have to make enough blockers to not just die when they go wide, so we stop that, and then we have like 3 other blockers. We probably still just die, but that's as many blockers as we could make here. Play the Spectacle Mage first, so that Elemental Summoning is even cheaper. Do our best here. That's as many blockers as we can have. Tap the Bookworm. Hexproof. Okay, we are just dead here. So it is going to be a 4-3, pretty average run, but certainly enough wins to get all of our prize support back out of this, which is nice. We definitely have to block that. I mean, it doesn't matter. We're just dead to the Bookworm, so we'll just block the 1/1. Just send the message. That is going to end the run for this Prismari deck. Pretty solid draft overall, 4-3, a little bit above average. We'll get our prize support back out of it, which is where I tend to like to be. So let's see what we got at the end here. We do have 3 packs to open up and 1,400 gems. Getting pretty close on Strixhaven to having every rare, at least 1 copy. But definitely don't have my play sets yet. So we have Dragon's Guard Elite and Faithless Looting. Very controversial artwork here. I think it's pretty cool. It's definitely, you know, because it's on a Mystical Archives card, I'm super okay with it. If it was just in the main set, I'd be like, alright, this is weird. But in the Mystical Archives, it's nice to have the variety of the artwork. It's pretty cool. It's like a special version. It's kind of like Secret Lair cards and stuff. Shined Shadow Snarl is our rare in the next pack. Nice for constructed decks. Good mana fixing there. And 2 packs to go. Necro Blossom Snarl. Let's just keep getting that great mana fixing so I can build some standard decks maybe. Play a little bit of standard, but I'm just not a huge standard fan, and I think the standard format's pretty stale right now. But I think that most of the time in standard. And our final rare, Shale, Dean of Radiance, and Embrose, Dean of Shadow. All of the Dean cards are quite good, and this one is no different. Very, very solid limited card here. Either half of it is great. Shale, great to get out in the early game and make all of your creatures for the rest of the game bigger, basically. And Embrose can slowly make your creatures bigger, as well as drawing cards off of all your +1/+1 countered creatures. So really solid limited cards to open up there, as well as all those lands for constructed. So pretty nice packs at the end here. And that is going to end today's Premier Draft, though. If you enjoyed the video and you want to see more, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. All of that good stuff that lets the YouTube algorithm know that you're interested in the content. And yeah, as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you again soon for some more Magic Arena.